Hello! Hello. And welcome! This is Brownie Rose Smith, live from the Forbidden Library, and I'm too far in the box. Let's get out the box a little bit more. There we go. Yeah. I have all this space now thanks to this new layout. I could be this far out the box and not cover you guys, because you're in the corner now. Ha! You have been moved. But I'll stay here. Welcome, Chase. Welcome, any lurkers. We're going to finish some Higurashi today. I really want to hopefully finish. Hello, Noko-chan. Welcome. Let's load in. So we were having... We got into like a clash with Rena, and Rena was gonna like try kill us, and then it stopped because flashbacks. Quick, Rena, I'm sorry. We have to do flashbacks. Yes, and he made a connection that there's something strange about metal bats, at least in these cases. Because Rena went crazy with a metal bat, the guy before him, Satoshi, went crazy with a metal bat. And you have been cornered! Absolutely cornered in the corner! There's nowhere left to run! You're captured and cornered. I give a summary of Higurashi so far. But the best summary you can get, really, is... One dude is incredibly paranoid and his friends may or may not be trying to kill him. The end. Man throws time to curse us with flashbacks to escape death. Correct! What is this, Naruto? And finally, me. And my metal bat! I'd encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding on to a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned Satoshi did the same thing. It couldn't be. Had the same thing happened to Rena? But there was a critical difference between her and Satoshi's case. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Both of them had fallen victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse, yet they were met with different endings. And finally me. I couldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena, Satoshi, and finally me. Could it be that I really was under Oyashiro-sama's curse? Right now? No. More importantly than that, what should I do now? Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. Fine? Rena had undergone a change. I could only believe that there was something that wasn't Rena residing within her. And here, right now, it was standing before me. About to murder me! Hi! Rena, please tell me. What will happen to me? Rena stood imposingly, not answering. That was very loud transition in my headset. Please let me know if it's too loud for you guys too. Satoshi disappeared. But Rena didn't disappear. So what will happen to me? I'd never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. It was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling. Don't worry, I'll save you. Rena took one step forward, still holding the hatchet high above her head. Now then. One step closer. Rena's face spread out to fill my vision. Speak. One step closer. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine, and was still pushing closer. something you want to say, isn't there? I'll listen. I'll save you. Okay? Speak. Okay? Speak. Okay? I slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. I had a gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter end, because when that laughing ended, the moment I picked up on that feeling, my body moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet, so fast I couldn't believe it, and so fast that I couldn't even read it, and pushed Rena away with both hands. Rena was light as a feather. Thrown about by the unbalanced weight of the hatchet, she was sent backwards as if she was being carried off by the wind. After confirming that out of eye contact, I dashed off at full speed. I was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Get away from Rena. Run away. Survive! I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running, I remembered I'd been holding on to a bat the entire time. Oh, such a worthless weapon. I couldn't believe I'd forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. I sped even farther down the winding path. I didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my legs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I could hear the laughter of that simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me. It rang through the trees and in my head and slowly chiseled away at my sanity. The groves of trees thinned out, my field of vision suddenly expanding. Where was this? For a moment I was bewildered by the scenery. I felt I knew but couldn't quite remember. I quickly realised it was the dam site. The fact that I dashed madly and ended up at a place like this gave me a bad feeling, like I was following someone's scripted plot. I had a good view of my surroundings, but I didn't see a single soul here. This was a terrible spot for someone on the run, but there was no better place for an attacker. My heart was already on the verge of bursting. The muscles in my legs were screaming, but I didn't care. If I stopped here, then I might not be able to scream for much longer. Even still, I glanced back looking for an excuse to rest. Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw two villagers walking around. I breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't Rena, but a third party. Except the voice inside me rang alarm once again. The villagers walking around weren't suspicious in of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes, empty-handed. They definitely gave me the impression they were just out for a walk. But at this time of day, two adults wandering around without purpose? It was enough to raise questions. Oh Lord, so paranoid. Paranoia. Here we go again. These cages' bodies will match the other corpses in the damp dirt. Yeah, at this point. But more than anything else, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking. They were both silent, heading forward, looking in my direction. I was at the end of my rope. I had finally started imagining things. I should run away. That was probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. If they were part of the group after me, then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurried up, Rena would catch up to me. That's right. I was going to run. Deciding that, the moment I began to turn tail, both of them rushed towards me as if they knew exactly what I was thinking. Somewhere inside me, I jumped to the conclusion that Reno was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption that I didn't need to fear anything else. But right now, I realize just how blatantly wrong I was. Safe to say, it's more than paranoia at this point. Being near death from his yeah, I guess so. Yeah, at this point, it's more than paranoia, that's for sure. Suddenly, the story Oshi-san told me about the demons all leaving the village to hunt prey floated through the back of my mind. I could tell they were both coming after me, without even turning around because of their frantic footsteps. I feel like that's supposed to be frantic. It was frightening, being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me, but this didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity, this straightforward horror was unparalleled. Once the pursuer's arms grazed my shoulder, now it wasn't just their frenzied footsteps, but also the distinct sound of their breathing that I could hear. No, I could practically feel them breathing on me. They were already right behind me! Calm down, Keiji Mayabara. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding area go still. No, it felt like time had stopped. I turned my head back slightly in that frozen world, realizing how close my pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the legs of an adult. In less time it would take to blink twice. When this frozen time began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. On top of me. And then... Don't think about it, Keiji. First, realize that you won't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact that you can't get away was a given, then you need to make a decision. Go with the right leg or go with the left. You just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decided that, the temporal singularity burst to pieces. Right. Left. I swung the bat in a wide arc with my right arm. Using that inertia, I stopped and suddenly spun. What? The two of them were clearly startled, momentarily losing sight of me. Both of their outstretched arms ready to grab me, instead grabbed empty space. The man on the right, I applaud him for being able to figure it out, spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been and faced me in astonishment. But it was too late. I didn't even need to swing my bat. All I needed to do was extend my arms and turn around. It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. But just knocking him down wasn't enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time. Both of them took a fighting stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain they weren't just two people out for a walk. They were clearly after me. It felt much easier than dealing with Rena. Just by not recognizing their faces, by not knowing them, it made this easier. I smiled wryly on the inside. What do you want with me? Next one is going to be right in your face, you bastard! Hello, Void, welcome! It's fine if it was just a bluff. By barking out at them, I was able to fire myself up. They didn't respond. They spread out to either side of me with unbelievably calm expressions on their faces. Don't you worry, I don't have to be your number one priority in life. You play your video games and enjoy your life. I will yawn. Oh, it's been a sleepy day. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other would hold me down. Was that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Hot sweat poured from every pore in my body. Then I'd just have to settle it with the first move. I'd step in and strike the first one down. Narrowing my target on the man on the right who had been knocked down before, I stepped in and swung with all my might. There was no way for an unarmed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arm, their bone would snap like a twig. If they turned their back to it, it was possible that the blow would travel all the way to their vital organs. It looked like he was aware of this. He pushed farther through the kill zone between us and delivered his fist right into my gut. Not good. With this distance and this position, and in this state, there was no way for me to dodge it. The world flipped upside down. Understood I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil press against my face. It didn't hurt at all. But the moment I thought that, I suddenly felt pain from the abrasions on my skin, as well as the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a bitter sensation. I knew very well that I didn't have time to relish this experience. I stood up as quickly as I could, but at that moment the other man was already barreling towards me. Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After ploughing into my stomach full force again, my assailant twisted around behind me and locked his stick arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by his immense strength. I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled or that I was about to go unconscious. My vision simply darkened, and a silent whining noise began to play deep inside my mind. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel he was there. There was nothing I could do now. Unable to shake his arm off me, I couldn't run, I couldn't fight back. Dire straits. I couldn't even come up with the phrase that adequately described my situation. Oh lordy. And KG died. That's the end. We did it. Nope, we're live. We're live. A familiar ceiling. The smell of the bed and pillows. I knew them well. Was this my room? Normally there wouldn't be anyone in my room besides me, but their presence made me spring wide awake. When did that pain shot through my entire body? What would I do if I get to the end credits too early? I don't know. Figure it out when we get there. Rip KG used all his slow-mo power for his flashback. He did. He tried his best, but he did completely misused his Max Payne slow-mo stuff. Feeling alright? I think you better just lie down for a bit. Why was Rena in my room? Blood began to surge through my muscles and my capillaries. But Rena's smile belonged to the Rena I knew well. I know I shouldn't let myself feel this way, but I relaxed, thinking this version of Rena was safe. Why? And cat pictures is always a good shout. Don't you remember? After losing consciousness, nothing at all. My body had become more lethargic, more lethargic than I could have ever imagined. I guess that would be the expected outcome after exerting everything I had back there. I tried to at least clear my head, but I couldn't shake this sluggish feeling out of my mind. I called the doctor. He should be here soon. I think you better just lie down until then. I wasn't injured serious enough to merit calling a doctor. You were unconscious. That's normally enough. But knowing that someone impartial was coming was slightly reassuring. Why am I here? I'm sure I was at the damn site. That's what I want to know. What happened? When I got there, Keiji-kun was already passed out. That's why I'm the one who wants to know. I was attacked by two weirdos. As I talked about it, I finally remembered what happened right before I passed out. Recalling that memory and the terror that went along caused the fogginess around my head to clear right up. Let's forget about those two for now. I didn't expect Rena to be nursing me. I thought Rena was trying to kill me. No, she was trying to save you, you dumbass. She would have had the perfect chance while I was unconscious. Not only did she not kill me, she nursed me back to health. Amazing you could drag me all the way back here. Wasn't I heavy? Looking at Rena's delicate frame, it was hard to believe she had not only gotten me back home, but even dragged me all the way to the second floor. Did she have some help? Hello, Jabba Hopper, welcome! Don't you remember, Keiji-kun? Yeah, Medicachi the feeling. Safe! He'll be safe when he's dead. Then he won't have to worry about any of this bullshit again. Ren appeared a bit surprised, but kept her smile. I only propped you on my shoulder. You said you could walk on your own, and that you were fine. Don't you remember? So you're calling him a dum-dum, not trusting Rena. Does that mean I'm dumb? No, I don't think he's not a dumb... I just question how much of what we see from him is real. I also love Rena and would trust her with my life. I shouldn't. I definitely shouldn't. But I do. I didn't remember. My memory was fuzzy after the point where I lost consciousness. What about those two? Huh? When you got there, Rena, the ones with me, or rather those two guys. Keiji is also dumb. That's true. That's true. This is both. Yes. There wasn't anyone, she said bluntly. The way she stated it felt slightly unpleasant. I was just too timid at the time. I might have been able to force some answers out of Rena. But if I did that, then this kind Rena might transform into the scary Rena who I didn't know. Rena is the last person I want to trust. Can you what about this adorable face? Can you not trust? Everything about her is trustworthy, obviously. Fearing that, I didn't press any further. Thinking about it, it was the obvious choice. Keiji is a sack of bricks, but a sack of bricks with a small rat acting as a brick, correct? If both of those men were there, I don't think Rena would have stood a chance. I couldn't find any way to explain it, unless I assumed she brought me here after those two were already gone. Rena was still smiling. Her eyes sparkled warmly, yet I felt like I was hallucinating when I saw something. Something akin to a shadow creeping across her face. That small omen sent shivers down my spine. While Rena was still Rena, I needed to make contact. I needed to contact Oishi-san. Rena stopped me when I tried to get out of bed. She said it would aggravate my wounds, so I should sleep. I'd like to go to the bathroom, though. Ah, sorry. Rena couldn't say anything else. Well, yeah. Can't really stop someone from going to the loo. While Rena stayed in the room, I quickly went downstairs to get the phone receiver from the living room. That's exactly why she's not trustworthy. She'd act cute and kawaii until I turn my back to her. And then she uses her battle hatchet on my back. Not being so cute and kawaii. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. She'd never do that. Ever. Why would you ever think of that? When I approached the front door, the doorbell rang. Ding dong. It must have been the doctor Rena called. It was strange for a patient to welcome the doctor who was making the house call, but it would be incredibly reassuring to have him here for the considerable time it would take Oshi-san to get here. I carelessly opened the door with that simple assumption, and regretted it almost instantly. Just don't hold a metal bat and you'll be fine. Yeah, don't hold a metal bat. Metal bats make bad things happen. Mion? Ah, you look just fine. I heard you collapse, so I came to check up on you. Pat, pat, pat. How did you know I collapsed? I heard from Rena over the phone. Do you need any other reason than that? I understood why she would call a doctor, but why Mion too? Rena was descending the stairs behind me. Rena, doesn't KJ look pretty alright? She made me worry for nothing. That's true. Maybe I was worried for nothing as well. They both began laughing. It appeared to be cheerful, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a darkness looming over them. Wow, what's up with the shoe rack? How did it get like this? The shoe rack that I'd smashed to pieces had been like that since yesterday. I fell, you see. Clearly Mion was late because having to clean the blood off the clothes. Probably. Also, the cute character is a demon wearing a mask. Cartoon cliche. And it's a wonderful cliche and I love it. It's one of my favorites. And the bat I was holding slammed into her at the time. This is what happens when you swing around something you're not used to handling. I kept the fact that it was none of her business to myself. I think Rena'd be that character that would always get me in trouble. Briny, Void, I see you. Your severed arm, Rena didn't do it, even though she's holding the hatchet. Yeah, that sounds about right. Rena would never do anything wrong. Why did you sever your own arm, Void? That was very silly of you. But leaving like this will really startle your parents when they get home. I'll fix it up for you later. Yay! Come on now, Kei-chan. The terminally ill need their rest. Come. Back in bed. Back to bed with you. Both of them urged me up the stairs. I'd no chance to call Oshi-san. I was pushed into my bed. It was the first time Mion had been in my room. She began searching around intently. She fiddled around my room and was scolded by Rena. You can imagine how it went. I had an alarm on my phone, which shouldn't be on, but it was. It wasn't comfortable having my room poked around, but the conversation was so benign, it was heartwarming. And knowing Mion, she's like looking for the dirty mags. During that very innocent conversation, Mion said something that was, as though it was perfectly ordinary. Rena, did you call the director? Yep. Right after I called Mi-chan. He said he'd be right over. Director? So this is me questioning KJ again. Did he mishear doctor as director? Is he just mishearing things? That out-of-place word gave me a bad feeling. Rena called a doctor. Then called Mion. And after that, she called a director? She never said that she called Mion after the doctor, and I'm pretty sure you're just mishearing director for doctor. Who was this director? Since Rena and Mion's conversation was so peaceful, it only felt slightly odd. What are you two talking about? Who's this director? Did you know, Kei-chan? We mean the director when we say director. And again, okay, maybe he's not. I don't know. I don't trust the writing. I don't trust it. I don't trust this writing. I don't trust Kei-chan the most. Like the director of a movie. I misheard Bryony a lot, but I know she has a wholesome vocabulary. Yes, of course I do. Mm-hmm. Or like a foreman of a construction site. I dug through my memories for a director who might have business with me. Only one thing came to mind. Rena had just said, the construction site foreman. The very first victim of the incident. The dismemberment of the damn construction site. The foreman. But that was strange. He was supposed to be dead. There was no way they could call him. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. What does that director have to do with me? You said he was coming. Did you mean to my house? I asked one obvious question after another, but all the two of them did was smile coolly at each other. There was a huge difference between how the two of them appeared and how my suspicions were playing out. Slowly I felt discomfort and panic welling up inside me. I couldn't understand what Rena and Mion were talking about. Kei-chan, you've gotten into baseball lately, haven't you? Pretty sure the director will be happy to hear that. So who's this director? The director's the director. Would I trust Satoko? No. Not as far as I can throw that little shit. Nope. Not in the way that I think she'd murder me. But in the way she will cause me physical pain. That is for sure. And emotional pain, potentially. Rena and Mion looked at each other and laughed haughtily. That disturbing cackle unpleasantly resounded around me. All the weird laughs today. Solely trusting Rena then. Yeah, I trust Rena. I trust Rena. If you had steroids, would you trust her as far as you could throw her? No. That laugh, long enough to be unsettling, ended abruptly. Oh yeah. We should finish up here before the director comes. You remember, don't you, Kei-chan? Her face was laughing, but Mion's eyes told a different story. Remember? Remember what? Kei-kun. Had he forgotten? I wonder. About the penalty. About the penalty. Did you really forget? The homework with the mochi. The homework where you were supposed to guess which one Rena made. You forgot about that homework, didn't you? I certainly did have that homework. But I had thrown it away with the rest of the mochi after finding a sewing needle. So I wasn't able to answer which one Rena made. The penalty for that? Why now? You actually have a good cackle voice, Briny. Also kind of sad they aren't voiced. I purposely turned off the voices because I wanted to do it. I don't like talking over voices in the games. That's why I started Ruiner originally with the sound, with the things off. It feels weird. I don't like doing it. Okay, G had to be dead right now because this is just odd. Yep. No doubt my question was written all over my face. Their answer to my question was dry laughter. I could no longer make heads or tails of anything. I began to think that this entire day was somehow insane. Strange. Incomprehensible. Being chased by Rena, attacked by strange men. The penalty Mion and Rena were talking about. What were these two laughing at? It didn't take that long for me to realize I had been dragged into an abnormal situation. Who were these two? When you get to Umineko in 10 years, can you keep the voices on when the witch lady is on the screen? Like I said, I prefer not to have the voices, really. I can put them on if you want, but I always, like I said, I like to read these, and I feel like it's confusing if there's a voice in the background too. In Ruin, that's not too bad because it's a Korean voice. But if there were two people speaking the English lines at the same time, I can't see that being a very good experience on your end more than mine. Who were these people? Who were these doppelgangers of Rena and Mion? Rena had gotten behind me at some point. Why was she pinning my arms behind my back? What are you doing? Don't move. This is your penalty. My body was already very sluggish, and Rena pinning my arms made that much harder to move. I seriously tried to struggle, but she wouldn't even budge. My panic began to well up, and I realized this was well beyond the realm of jokes and pleasantries. This freakish, monstrous strength. It would have been impossible for the Rena that I knew. Still cute? Yeah, look at her, she's adorable. Rena will never not be cute. Put this face on her, cover her in blood, she's still cute. Still cute. Then these thin, frail arms grasping me. Whose arms were they? Kei-chan, no struggling. Club rule, remember number, doesn't matter which one. You can't fight against a penalty. Mion. No, that thing that looked like Mion spoke to me like how Mion would speak to me. But I wasn't certain that this was not Mion. Someone who wasn't Mion, someone who was just pretending to be Mion. Yeah, if Rena gets free and murders me, by all means put on my tombstone, I regret nothing, I trust Rena. Need to finish up before the director comes. Mion fished into her pockets and pulled out something bizarre. I could tell what it was just by looking, but for such a thing to be in her pocket, my mind wouldn't accept it. What is that? It was a small syringe. It was a small, clear syringe with the kind a doctor might use if you went to them with a high fever. Rena held me even tighter. I could hear that clattering laughter that no longer sounded like laughter, blaring in my ears. That eerie laughter. It wasn't something that the Rena I knew could ever produce from her own throat. This thing that was pretending to be Rena, was this their real laugh? Unable to defend myself, the syringe Mion was holding drew closer. And that needle tip was waved in front of my face countless times. Don't worry, don't worry. It won't hurt, it won't hurt. What are you planning on doing? What kind of sick joke is this? What are you saying, Kei-chan? You know exactly what's going on, don't you? About what? I don't understand any of this at all. I know you know. No use playing the fool this late in the game. Stop talking nonsense and stop talking nonsense to try and confuse me. You're going to have done to you what happened to Tomitake-san. What? The same as Tomitake-san? I didn't really understand what she meant. What did that have to do with this syringe? You're playing dumb, Keiji-kun. You should have realized it by now. Rena whispered into my ear, laughing as if to admonish me. But even the way she spoke was repulsive beyond compare. Playing dumb? Me? About what? What do you mean? The same as Tomitake-san? Oh no. Everyone thought at first it was a hit and run. Except when the officers got closer to check if he was still alive, he soon noticed it wasn't a normal situation. His throat was scratched out. From a knife or something? No. Nails. Nails? As in fingernails? Would those couch through? That's right. Tomitake-san had clawed out his own throat with his own nails and died. There's no way someone could die like that. So then for that to happen, we thought drugs were to blame, but nothing of that nature was detected. That's right. The police didn't find any drugs in Tomitake-san's system. But the police told me they didn't find any drugs in Tomitake-san's body. Gwit, 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 gwit. The two of them laughed together with a sickening laughter. Sorry, let me try and make that sound more like a laugh. No, that doesn't sound good no matter how much I do it. course they'd laugh. To assume that such a medicine didn't exist just because the police didn't know about it was completely foolish. Meaning, if the drug that caused Tomitake-san to die in such a bizarre manner did exist, if Mion injected this into me, then that would probably be all the proof I needed. That would basically mean I'd end up the same as Tomitake-san. Become hysterical, scratching out my own throat in my last moments, then die. For such an outrageous drug to exist? For Mion to be holding it? And that I was about to be injected with it? At that moment, I did not feel there was any need whatsoever to question it. What kind of idiot, when he's trying to dodge a ball, flying straight for his face, has time to think of the reason why it's flying at him? Just give up. All right then. Mion's actions lacked any gravitas, and that made them even more terrifying. There was none of the ceremony like when someone is sentenced to death. There was no hesitation at all, as if she were brushing her teeth. Mion reached out with one hand and grabbed onto my chest. It felt like electricity had run through the back of my head, and the entire world had gone dark. Did I stand up too fast? Or did someone hit me really hard in the back of the head? Having lost my sense of balance, I was assaulted with a wave of dizziness. What is going on? What is going on? I don't know what's going on. La 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 la. I think maybe that's because they got him. Did they get him? And the drug caused him to go a bit funny? I squatted down for a bit. When I came back to my senses, the entire room had changed drastically. The numbness in my head was gone, and slowly I could tell blood was flowing to my extremities again. How long had I been squatting here? How many minutes? Or has it been hours? It was almost as if their hands on the clock had stopped moving the entire time. My eyes were closed, that's how little time had passed. Really? The air in the room wasn't filled with madness from before, only a dull silence. Rena wasn't there pinning my arms, and Mion wasn't there about to inject me with a needle. No way. It couldn't be. All of it was a hallucination? There was no other presence in the room beside my own. I don't know either. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out together. It was the weirdest experience I've ever had. I was certainly with Rena and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but I was also seized with some sort of comfort. I guess that terrible ordeal was a hallucination. Neither Rena nor Mion would ever do something so terrible. My head grew hot. I could tell my emotions were welling up. Why? That wasn't a reason to cry. Why? It was sorrow. Why was I sad? I don't understand. Kind to everyone, not discriminating against age or gender. Mion. That Mion was sprawled by the window in an unnatural pose. Blood stained her a deep red from her head down to her chest. The bright crimson smeared the wall, that splattered and undoubtedly came from Mion. She always had a bright smile and was kind to me from the day I transferred. Rena. That same Rena was slumped at my feet and was making the same pool of blood as Mion. I couldn't comprehend what had happened. Did someone come to save me? Then they beat these two down with this metal bat. I finally noticed the weight in my right hand. How long had it been there? It was Satoshi's metal bat. It was covered in a deep red. There was no doubt that this was the weapon used to mutilate both of them. And I was holding that weapon. I was the only person in the house. What? Looking at this objectively, I couldn't think of anyone other than myself who could have done it. I did this? That's right, Keiji Mayabara. Of course I did it. I told myself gently, as if coaxing myself, "Hey, me, there's no reason for you to remember it, nor is there a need to regret it. Eat or be eaten. You get that, don't you? But the blood, the blood, there's so much." Neither Rena nor Mion had moved an inch. It wasn't just a split forehead, a trickle of blood, nothing that simple. The entire room was splattered with red, and that told me it didn't end with just 2 or 3 strikes. Are they dead? Both of them? In the depths of my mind were calm, but on the surface I was panicking and agitated. Calm down, Keiji Mayabara. What happened to your usual calm self? Come on now. Do like you always do. Throw your head back and take a deep breath. Come on. Once. Twice. Breathe deeply. Calm down. Calm down. I chanted that over and over in my head and relaxed. Colour came back to my vision, and smells reinfused the air. At the same time, I remembered what happened when I blacked out. Rena and Mion had attacked me. They were about to inject me with whatever caused the same symptoms as Tomitake-san. But right before that happened, I fought back. I twisted my whole body and threw Rena as she was pinning my arms. Then I followed through with my spin and rammed my foot as hard as I could into Mion's torso. It was soft. Rena tried jumping on me, so I tackled her as hard as I could and slammed her against the wall. I didn't let that brief moment of having them off balance slip by, Satoshi's bat was left carelessly by the side of my desk. Beep. At that moment, everything went pitch black. There was nothing recorded past this point in the videotape of my mind. No, that wasn't right. It wasn't that there was nothing recorded. It was recorded just fine. Just the other me inside myself had told me not to look and had turned off the TV. Just because the screen had gone black and I couldn't see it didn't mean that the videotape within me hadn't recorded it. The TV was just off. The video was still playing. The tape within me, creaking along, still playing. On the other end of that pitch black screen, a horrifying video was still playing on. Compared to this though, the scene right before my eyes was still so difficult to take in. There was blood splattered everywhere, on the walls, the two of them in these unnatural poses. Not a sign of movement from them. I couldn't even tell if they were breathing. No matter what the circumstances were, my friends, these girls, I had attacked them. I may have even killed them. But if I hadn't done this, I would have been the one done for. Balancing that out on an imaginary scale, it felt odd that I didn't even feel bad about it. Even if it was a bit excessive, this was still justifiable self-defense. The proof was all here. The two of them collapsed here, and Mion's syringe. Mion's syringe filled with some unknown drug would certainly solve the mystery surrounding the incident with Tomatake-san. And from the fact that both of these two were involved, they'd be able to pick out the criminals one after another. Still, I might be suspect for this. But that was fine. That was just fine. Anyway, now this should be a police affair. This wouldn't fade into the darkness like Renner's past incidents. As long as the police were involved, that should bring things to a close. They'll probably just revisit their investigations on the chain of incidents. Oshi-san would definitely get to the bottom of it. Meaning my wish of not wanting to die, of wanting to know the truth that would be fulfilled in its most basic form. It was all a matter of time now. Yep, just walk out like nothing happened. The doctor Renner called should be getting here soon. I'll confess everything to him. I need to contact Oshi-san. At that moment I remembered. Besides the doctor, a director had been called. It was easy to imagine that they were someone deeply involved with the incidents, judging from Renner and Mion's conversation. The ache in my chest caused by the gruesome deed I'd done dissipated rapidly. It was not over yet. This place was no longer safe. Stay calm, Keiji Maebara. It's not over yet. I needed to live long enough to tell the police of this incident. At that moment, I felt like I heard someone's voice from outside. Since people were speaking, it must mean there was more than one person. I moved the curtain ever so slightly and peered outside. It was a bizarre sight. About 4 or 5 grown men were all gathered at the gate. They very much resembled the 2 men who had assaulted me at the dam site today. Those 2 might even be among them. There was one person wearing a white coat. But he didn't look like a doctor at all. My gut told me he was in disguise, only posing as a doctor. That guy would probably ring the bell and get me to open the front door. Pretend to be a doctor to get me to open the door. Then the rest of them would rush in at once. At that moment, I saw the car parked behind the men, and my heart nearly skipped a beat. The white van! The one that nearly ran him over. No mistaking it. That van. The one that tried to run me down. The man in the white coat entered the gate and headed towards the front door. The rest of the men hid in the bushes and watched him. I probably couldn't pretend that I wasn't home. Undoubtedly, they'd just break a window and enter. I needed to get out of here somehow. And then use a public phone to contact Oroshi-san. And then meet up somewhere. Why can't you take seriously when he says white van? It's a van that is white. First of all, I need a weapon. Then shoes. But before all of that, there was something that I had to do. I had no intention of dying. I'd live and reveal the truth of this nonsensical curse of Oyashiro-sama. But that wouldn't happen from here. That would happen from here on, regardless of how determined I was. It may bring about my demise. And that's why there was one thing more important than getting out of here right now. I need to get the clock out quickly and take the note hidden behind it. Damn it. The tape was sticking to it fast. It'd be fine if it was torn a little. I opened up the slightly torn note and began writing another passage with a ballpoint pen. If I wasn't able to inform Oroshi-san, then the only thing I could rely on was this note. Yeah, I'd kind of been taping the syringe to the back of the clock as well or something, or trying to hide it, and then like put in the note where it is, something maybe. I never thought a torn piece of college-ruled notebook paper could be this reliable before. I had no time. I could only write what I knew right now. I needed to leave some sort of information that would lead them to uncover the truth. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. This would be an undeniable fact. I still didn't want to believe it, but it was a fact. Anyway, I'd leave all the information that would help lead them to finding the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This was everything I was able to see from the window. There may be more. Also, there was that unidentified person known as the director. To begin with, the term director didn't even mesh with Hinamizawa at all. If they were going to include the directors from the past incidents, then the only one is the construction site foreman, the victim of the first murder. The very first victim of the chain of incidents. Killed in a lynching, his body divided into 6 pieces. His right arm was never discovered. The police should have confirmed that death, but Ren and Mion both called him Director. They said Director. They wouldn't use that term to refer to someone who was dead. The police would never even conceive that someone who was deceased could be involved. Could that be some sort of oversight? I didn't know. But even if I did know, it could be a big hint for Orochi-san. Even if I didn't know, it could be a big hint for Orochi-san. That's right. They needed to start fresh from the first incident. It wasn't just a simple dismemberment, but the start of a string of mysterious deaths that would follow, so then there must be something hidden there. Please reinvestigate the victim of the dismemberment incident. He's alive. His death should have been established after an autopsy. Logically, you would think as much, but was that really the case? Could it have been some sort of ploy that they were able to deceive the police with? I shouldn't jump to conclusions, but he may still be alive. Oh, sorry. Close. I had no time to ponder that right now. Oh yeah, there's something even more important I needed to write. Tomitake-san's death was from an unknown drug. That's right. That drug was an irreplaceable piece of evidence, no doubt. Just by having this, everything would be uncovered. I couldn't just leave a vital clue lying on the floor. There he is. He's got it. There's his single brain cell starting to work. This syringe is proof. Writing that down, I stuck the syringe under the back of the clock with plenty of tape, so it absolutely would not slip off and fall to the floor. Firmly, firmly. The bell rang. They were here. I couldn't write anymore. But even still, there was one last thing I had to write. I have no idea why it has become like this. This may be the closest thing to the truth out of everything I wrote on this note. If you are reading this, then I am probably already dead. Although you may not find my body. If I was going to write out everything that could happen, either dying from the curse, or being demoned away, you who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. With this, my last will and testament was complete. It wasn't certain I was going to die, but it was my final plea, just in case. I folded the note, stuck it on the back of the clock, and returned the clock back to its usual spot. I couldn't help but pray. Oh, Shisan, if something happens to me, I leave the rest to you! After that, I gazed down silently at Rena and Mion. This is probably the last time we'd see each other. Rena, Mion, I really had thought all of us were friends. But why did it end up like this? I never had any fun in my previous school. I only worried about standardized test scores, but if the school I hoped to get into was where I really wanted to go, or a safety net, that was all I talked about. It was a dull life. The people I called friends were also my rivals in studying, in competitions, in personal records, and standardized test scores. Everyone here taught me how unhealthy that lifestyle was. This month was really fun. Making a fuss over lunch, making a fuss over the club, making a fuss over the festival. Something hot began dripping from my face. Uncontrollable tears. I should have no obligation to shed tears for them. But they wouldn't stop. Even if they were after my life. Even if they were trying to kill me. Everything that happened this month, I wouldn't forget it. Or could it be those happy days? For all the facade as well? It was all a trap, meticulously orchestrated until today to ensnare me. The bat is cursed. The bat is 100% cursed. Could it have been that I just arbitrarily assumed that they were my friends? That couldn't be the case. Both Rena and Mion, they really were my friends. Those happy days, there was nothing fake or unclear about them. Someone probably forced them to try kill me. All their minds were taken over, possessed by the supernatural entity known as Oyashiro-sama. Regardless, both Rena and Mion were the best friends ever. And when they were coming after me, it wasn't of their own volition. But they weren't the kind of people to sell off their friends no matter what means were employed to force them. And there was no way such a thing as being possessed by Oyashiro-sama could happen in reality. He's such a reflective boy. He really just does need to run. Then, did the real Rena and Mion come after me? What was I thinking? What a silly, dumb idea. Having beaten down both Rena and Mion, I was still debating if they were the real ones or fakes. There was no real or fake. Only the reality that was before me. Sorry. Ren and Mion was sprawled out at my feet. That was the only truth. I was only trying to twist the facts to my benefit. That I had beaten down my friends to death. No matter how I spun it, it wouldn't change reality. Rena and Mion were both dead. It felt like there was a crack in the dam of strange emotions I was holding back. It felt like my calm state, which was nothing more than a bluff, had receded, and in that opening, insanity was leaking out. I killed them. I killed them. Rena and Mion. I killed them. The doorbell rang again. The unrelenting echo pulled me back into a state of composure once again. I didn't have a moment to spare. Quickly, I needed to get away. I didn't want to die. I would uncover everything after that. The identity of whoever or whatever had pushed me this far. Even if I had to drink mud and eat grass, I would survive. I would survive. I would definitely survive. I killed Rena for that very reason. I also killed Mion. I went that far just to keep living. So I can't die. For my sake, and for the sake of the late Rena and Mion. I have to survive. I ran towards the door and grabbed my shoes. The doorbell rang again, as if to urge me on. Behind this single solitary door, they were there. Keeping quiet, I headed towards the kitchen. Headed towards the back door. Before opening the back door, I put an ear to it to check for people outside. No one. After I put on my shoes, I opened the door opened the door slowly so as to not make a sound. There he is! The back door! A piercing voice echoed out. That voice stabbed through me, setting my hair on end. I had to run. Get out of here, KG! One after another, I felt stuff like rationale, intelligence, those things you use when you have time to spare, spill out of me. I didn't feel any pain from the branches scratching my arms and forehead. My autonomously pulsing heart also felt neither fatigue nor pain. My entire being just wished to live. There was nothing else I desired. It probably had no complaints whatsoever, so of course I wouldn't feel fatigue. I just ran, just recklessly rushing in a direction I was already heading. Even if nobody was chasing after me, I was still running like this. There wasn't a thought in my mind about where I was heading. Turning around, I felt a presence right next to me. That presence was, without a doubt, chasing me like my shadow. If I took even one misstep, I would be devoured. That's what I thought. So I didn't turn around. I didn't stop. I ran at full speed. Off we go. That was the chirping of the Higurashi, telling me that it was evening, trying to tell me something, and then I finally heard it. The wailing cry of the victims who didn't make it. Would I be joining them? Higurashi noises. Only the Higurashi knew. They knew everything. They definitely knew. So I ran towards where I could hear more of the Higurashi chirps. But the farther I ran, the farther their chirping became. I couldn't get near them. Why are you all running away? Was it my fault? Was I the one to blame? Then I'll apologize. I'm sorry. 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 I felt that only the Higurashi knew. Higurashi be like, it's evening, and he's like, I'm sorry, what the fuck are you sorry for? While loving chased by shadows, run from the truth of your crimes was achievement I just got. The smoking room was filled with a cloud of cigarette smoke. The expensive smoke filter gave off some crackling electric noises, but it didn't seem like it was doing anything at all. Why do smokers have to be shoved so far down the corridor when the sun didn't even reach? I recalled hearing that the tax revenue from tobacco was about 1/10 of the multiplicity's revenue. We were the most heavily taxed members of this multiplicity, so I really wished they'd show a little more respect. I accidentally spilled speed. I'm sorry, Bridie. Times 100, yeah? As you should. As you should be sad if you spill tea. Kuma guy. Why would you discard the 5 manzu there? It's just decreasing your options. One of the younger detectives was having a staring contest with the mahjong magazine called Next Turn. You're still in tenpai if you cut the 5 manzu. I know nothing about mahjong. These are words. If you're betting on Haite, then shouldn't you be going with a Magan? Kuma-chan, look at the pond. They all discarded 5 manzu. It's a safe tile. You'd hate it at the end of the game if someone was sitting on a tenpai on their last turn, wouldn't you? The kid let out a groan and put out his cigarette, then took another one. Have I ever played shogi before? No. No clue how to play that. I just don't agree. Why would you reduce your own options? By the way, you can't call Ron with your winning title in Haiti. What? Why is that? Just then, I heard a voice coming from down the hall. Are you here, Oshi-san? You have a call from a civilian. Well, ain't that something? Well, see you soon. Grandpa has survived. What? Why can't I call Ron on it? Hold on a sec. Oshi-san. The man sitting in the seat Oshi-san was heading towards waved the telephone receiver. Outside line, from a payphone. Why, thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting, this is Oshi-san. Who is it? Oshi-san? Hello? If it isn't Mayabata-san. Why, good evening. From the tone of Mayabata-kun's voice, I already knew he was in a predicament. This was the first time Mayabata-kun had called me. And he was calling from a payphone? Please calm down. Did something happen? His voice was erratic over the line. He had completely lost his sense of composure. After checking that nobody else could hear, I prompted him in a hushed tone. What happened? I... Calm down, Mayabata-san. I can have local officers head to your location. I'll be there soon, too. I think that's impossible. His voice was quivering and hoarse. He wasn't surrounded by people, even as he was making this call, was he? Mayabata-san, you're calling from a payphone right now, right? Where is that payphone? There was no other sound besides Mayabata-kun's voice. It had to be a phone booth. I scratched out a note and thrust it at my colleague sitting across from me. Hinamizawa phone booth. He understood quickly and hastily started on the internal lines. Calm down, Mayabata-san. What is your current situation? It was best practice to avoid flustering someone panicked, but this was an urgent case. Mayabata-kun didn't just get in trouble, get away, and then call me. He was in the middle of something dangerous right now. But yelling at Mayabata-kun right now would just needlessly cause him to get even more frantic. Mayabata-kun wasn't just calling to seek help. He was trying to tell us something more than that. And whatever it was, if I didn't get it from this call, I was certain there would never be another chance. My colleague pushed another note in front of me. There was only one booth in Hinamizawa. A patrol car was on the way. 5 minutes. That's too long! How many officers are in there? 2. Not enough. If it was as I imagined, there were quite a few people surrounding Mayabata-kun. 5 minutes was too long. Did you call the officers stationed in Hinamizawa? He's scheduled to be on patrol. They're currently out, and it's impossible to contact them. God damn it! Kuma-chan, bring the car around. Understood. Hello? Hoshi-san? Hello! It's all right. I can hear you loud and clear. There was something wrong with Mayabata-kun. That wasn't a normal coughing sound. Vomiting? Or was it blood? Had he already been attacked? Was he injured? Mayabata-san, the police are on their way. They'll be there in a couple minutes, so hold on somehow. Hello? Can you hear me? Mayabata-san! I could hear on the other end of the line that he was having a coughing fit. The worst possible situation popped into my head. Mayabata-san! Who is the culprit? How many are there? I thought at first the culprit was human. I couldn't tell if that was coughing or vomiting. Are you alright, Mayabata-san? I thought that the culprit was a person, and not Oyashiro-sama's curse. Up until right now. But I guess, in the end, it was an intense bout of coughing, then vomiting. But I guess Oyashiro-sama does exist. No, he's here. Mayabata-san, please, calm down. I had been thinking it was strange for a while now. It's been following me this whole time. I run and run and run, but it just sticks to me like my shadow. But slowly, so slowly, it's digging itself into my back. Mayabata-san! Are they right now, perhaps? Right behind you? Behind me? Right behind me. Please, Mayabata-san! I can tell you're scared, but please! Who is it that's right behind you? I can't just look behind me. If I do, I understand you're scared. But please, tell me. You just need to turn around a bit. Who is it? Who is behind you, Mayabata-san? Right after I said that, I could hear him vomiting intensely. What followed was a nightmarish sound. Mayabata-san! Could it be that you're clawing out your own throat? There was no answer, but I could hear something like scratching. There was a bang, as if something was being hit. Mayabata couldn't have probably dropped the receiver. I could hear groaning and vomiting over on the other end, and a repeating abnormal noise. Hello? Hello? Mayabata-san! Hello! I knew how far away my voice would sound on the other end, but I couldn't help but shout. At that moment I heard whispering coming from the other end. I couldn't tell what he was saying from the way he was saying it. Was he talking to himself? Was he talking to someone there? Hello! Mayabata-san! Rather than whispering, it was some kind of mantra he was chanting over and over. I focused my senses, trying to pick up what he was saying. What was he repeating? What exactly? Beep. Suddenly the line went dead. Did he use up his time? It was because it was a payphone. It was because it cut out so abruptly. The last thing he said came out so clearly in my mind. Oshi-san, the car is good to go. Oshi-san? It was. I'm sorry. Oshi-san? That was what he was repeating, over and over. He said, "I'm sorry." I had a gut feeling. There was no longer a need to hurry. I could hear the chirping of the Higurashi spilling in from the open window. Quee, 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 quee. I should have been able to hear them this entire time. I just wasn't paying enough attention. Why did I focus on them all of a sudden? Quee, 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 quee. Are they trying to tell me something? Only the Higurashi knew. That's how I felt. June 1983. When Briny cries. In Hinamizawa, a remote village near Shishibone City, there was a murder involving 2 female students. The suspect is Keiji Mayabara, age 1X. The suspect called over his 2 female classmates, Rena Ryugu and Mion Sonozaki, to his house and beat them to death with a metal bat. The scene of the crime was the suspect's room on the 2nd floor of his house. The inside of the room was covered with a significant quantity of splattered blood, and there were signs of a struggle with the victims. In addition to the scene of the crime, the entryway, the living room, and the kitchen all had traces of a struggle. In the entryway, the shoe rack and wall had evidence of being impacted by a strong, blunt force. Yeah, they said called over, but obviously this is stuff that's probably been made up a little bit by the town as well, to cover for their own shit. It is believed to have been the same bat as the murder weapon. Having no traces of blood, it is believed the destruction occurred before the murders. There is the possibility that the suspect overpowered his victims to keep them from fleeing. In the living room, the rug had been pulled back and thrown aside. It is hard to believe that this has a connection to the struggling with the victims, and thus the reason for this remains unknown. There are some definite curious details, that's for sure. This is, very tidy, isn't it? The kitchen, the garbage bag. In the kitchen, the garbage bag was torn apart, and its contents were spread on the floor. Garbage was strewn about in the surrounding area, and handprints believed to belong to the suspects were discovered. So this could be that they were trying to find the syringe to get rid of it, because they needed to get rid of that evidence. There would be so much more accountability in Higurashi if people... No, it's not that people don't have the ability to record what's happening. It's that it seems there's a big ability to cover up what's happening. Like the thing that happened with Rena at her old school. That was a huge cover-up for that. I don't doubt that there's a huge cover-up for this too. They could have been looking for the mochi needle too. I also think the syringe. It is believed that the suspect had, for some reason, taken out the garbage and struck it with his fists. Tambiru and the second social media becomes popular. It really would. Modern Higurashi would not work. The reason for this remains unknown. In addition, there was a note stuck to the fridge. The words, "There was there a needle," were written on it. The meaning behind this remains unclear. They'd be unable to counteract the cover-up with recording devices. Well, yeah, that's assuming they don't destroy said recording devices. Trying to cover up their frustration. Just in case, the garbage was searched, but a needle was not discovered. Though the garage door was functional, it had been left open ever since the suspect moved in. The garage door was found closed. The suspect's fingerprints were discovered on the garage door. The reason behind this remains unknown. The suspect fled the scene of the crime. However, a patrolling officer, Hinamizawa local PD, found the suspect collapsed inside a phone booth. At the time of the discovery, the suspect was unconscious, in critical condition. He was rushed to a local hospital for treatment, but did not regain consciousness and died 24 hours later. The results of the autopsy indicate the immediate cause of death to have been hypovolemic shock. It was determined that the suspect had clawed out his own throat with his fingernails, and the resulting bleeding caused his death. With the similarity to the death of Tomitaki-san the prior week, the police believe there to be a connection and have opened an investigation. However, due to the wishes of the local authorities, it will be a confidential investigation. Due to the abnormal nature of the death, it was suspected that drugs were involved, but, as with Tomitaki-san, no traces were discovered. What prompted this remains inexplicable. As such, this case has been treated as an act committed on impulse. However, with several accounts of the suspect's bizarre behaviour leading up to the incident, it is possible that this was premeditated. Separated from his group of friends, isolation, inexplicable behaviour, several days before the incident, the suspect began carrying around a metal bat. The suspect was observed displaying aggressive behaviour, as well as talking to himself at school. His classmates have actually heard portions of what he was saying. 2 days before the incident, the suspect declared to his parents the possibility of his death. Due to these circumstances, the police had begun an investigation on the possibility that this crime was not committed on impulse, but was instead planned several days in advance. Afterwards, a note was found in the suspect's room that he had written himself. The note was written on 2 sheets of B5 college-ruled notebook that had been each torn in half, as if he was trying to conceal it. It was stuck hidden behind a clock on the wall. The contents are as written in the appendix. The police believe it to be strongly related to the incident. The police changed their line of investigation based on the possibility that the suspect was involved in some sort of incident himself. However, no further clues were found, casting doubt on the credibility of the note. Was the crime impulsive or premeditated? With the situation unclear and no further developments, the case has been labelled unresolved. However, the following year, assuming they know what cameras are, if one time travels into their time, I don't know why you'd want to time travel. You may as well just, wait. Well, I assume that note came from the people who were after Keiji at the time. They would have known about the needle because they were in on the whole thing. Also, Keiji's note, the note on the fridge would have been written by the men that came to take Keiji. And they knew about the needle, like I said, because they were in on it, as far as I know. And also, yeah, the note had mentions of the syringe too. However, the following year, suspicions arose regarding the nature of the note. The note was not written on 2 halves of B5 paper from 2 separate sheets, but was originally a single piece of B5 paper. In order to erase several lines from the middle, someone had torn them out. Judging from the size of the letters, the missing sections are estimated to be about 2 to 3 lines. This is highly probable that the person who eliminated the lines in question is not the suspect. In addition, judging from the traces of large quantities of cellophane tape being stuck to the back of the clock, speculation is that something other than the note was stuck there has arisen. Using 2023 technology in 1980, it would kind of make you overpowered, but you have to remember that you wouldn't have the Wi-Fi and data connections that we do nowadays, so a lot of the technology we rely on now would be absolutely freaking useless. You could take pictures, you could make notes, but you could do everything your phone can do while offline, because nothing else would work. The person who first discovered the crime was a detective rumored to have connection with the incident, Kurado Oshi. 2010s is yes, that would be a lot better, because back in the 2010s, our internet wasn't as reliable, especially our data, so our phones were a lot better at dealing with not having a connection. He underwent voluntary questioning, but denies involvement in any damages to the note. The suspect's note. I, Keiji Mayabara, am in fear for my life. I do not know why they are after my life. The only thing I know is that it has something to do with Onyeshiro-sama's curse. Rena and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van. This is all on the first sheet. The section below has been ripped out. This is from the second sheet. The section above has been ripped out. I have no idea what... So it's the director information and the syringe information that's been taken from it. I have no idea why it has come to this. If you are reading this, then I am probably already dead. Though you may or may not find my body. You who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire. Keiji Mayabara. I know my phone would just be a paperweight, but like if I install house cameras, they would be unfamiliar. Yeah, but a lot of house cameras work with Wi-Fi still. Most of them aren't wired connections anymore. I mean, back in this time, they probably had CCTV and things like that still in shops, so... that kind of technology is still around. Boo! New scenario has been unlocked. All cast review sections become available. Okie dokie. Old VCR CCTV can easily be destroyed as well. Nothing is easy to hide. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, the timing was really good on that. We finished it! We finished chapter 1. I actually don't own any of the other chapters, which is another reason I said I was going to take a break, because, like I said, I don't physically own the other Higurashi chapters, so I couldn't go straight onto them if I wanted to. Higurashi. How much are they to pick up? There's got to be a bundle or something, right? So it's like 50 quid for the whole bundle. But I already have one, so like... yeah, so that's chapters 2 to 8. And then Ray, and then like Hopeless. So it's 40 pounds. I will just add some of them to wishlist. And then we'll go from there. And then if they end up on sale, I will pick them up and we can go on to the next one. Whoop. But that was fun! It was good to see how it's done in the OG after watching the anime. I remember this one pretty clearly because this kind of scenario I think was one of the simplest out of the plots that we get in the other chapters. It was Keiji goes crazy and murders people. Done. Whereas the rest, oh, you just need money to get them. Okay, I tried the sharing thing I said I was gonna do, Brownie, but nobody came here. Brainy. But yeah, I mean, that's okay. I appreciate you sharing my my stream on other things. I appreciate that. It's not your fault if no one comes. That's fine. I appreciate you sharing my shit everywhere. Any theories so far? I know. The problem is I know. Because I watch the anime, so I do kind of know what's going on. It's a little bit confusing and I don't particularly remember the details, but the problem is I know. I know. What do you think about the story, Brenny? Are you going to continue? I would like to continue Higurashi. There's like I said, this is the one I remember the most, and the only thing that puts me off doing Higurashi more is that all the fluff at the start, the kind of dodgy scenes, and just club activities, yay! And it was cute for a little while, but if they had maybe like 5 less scenes of them just fucking about and get to the actual plot, this would have been less of a slog to get through. I get that at the time, when Higurashi came out, slice of life visual novels were the thing. That was the thing, and it was trying to masquerade as that. It was doing the Doki Doki Literature Club thing way before Doki Doki Literature Club was a thing. So I'm hoping that the next few get to the plot a bit quicker. It felt like it started to do so in the anime, so fingers crossed. Like, at this point they're like, we've had chapter 1, we've had a lot of the intro, we should be okay. Fingers crossed. Umineko has a better story, Briny, but it has fluff, as you say, until they have dinner. I'll probably look at Umineko but I don't know. I don't know whether I'd do that over When They Cry. I'll favourite it again on Steam, and if it comes up, Umineko. Okay, while you're here, you can tell me. Umineko When They Cry Complete Collection. So it's questions arc, answers arc, and Golden Fantasia. I'm guessing questions arc is the first one. But no, I know nothing about Umineko. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. It's definitely a bit more wild than Higurashi. It doesn't... I don't know, like the fabulous, the outfits are more out there. I've just seen that little blonde girl with the bows and pink dress, weird. Golden Fantasia is a fighting game, and the questions arc is the first one. Good to know. Guessing it needed the padding to build a longer series work. Other DD... but only needed to function for one game. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't mind it so much because this is the first chapter. They wanted to really grind in who these characters are and what they're about and things like that. So I don't mind it so much. Umineko is kind of meh, IMO. It got places, but I don't know if I like the places. Oh gosh. I don't know. Maybe I'll do some research on Umineko then. We got some conflicting opinions. I know Void would die for this witch lady or something. But let's have a look. Let's do Umineko. Should we have a look at Steam reviews for it? I bet that's funny. Steam reviews are always the worst place in the world to be. Drooling, screaming, crying, shaking. She's so pretty when she troll faces. That is one of the reviews on Recommended. Just one word to describe this visual novel: masterpiece. This is questions arc specifically. Sounds like Steam. A word of advice before playing this: get the 07th mod or Umineko Project installed. So I do have the 07th mod, but I think I might have to reinstall it because I only got it installed for the first chapter because obviously that's the only one I had. Trust me, it's going to enhance your experience a lot. I bring a lot of new features, but the most important one is voice acting, which I won't be using anyway. They're mostly good reviews. Yeah, it's a very positive reviews. Even in recent, and the overall reviews are overwhelmingly positive, so it's good stuff. Let's find a negative review. I want to read at least one negative review. I am a little tilted right now, says this negative review. This post summarized very, very long. It has no need to be this long. Still good, but I can't recommend anyone spend the amount of time it's required to actually read this. Yeah, fair. Again, that's the problem I feel with Higurashi. It just doesn't need to be as long as it is. I wish that when we got to the meat and potatoes of this story, it was good. But getting to the meat and potatoes was hard. There was a lot of veggies in the way we had to eat. Man, they would not like Higurashi. No, they would not. So, if it's not great reviews, do you think you should try it? I think I should try it. I just worry how long it's going to take me a little bit. I worry a little bit because Higurashi's taken me so goddamn long to get through. I want to. But it will take so long. So very long. How am I supposed to solve this mystery with so many bangers constantly distracting me from thinking, says one review. Game would be a lot shorter if Keiji didn't pause every 10 seconds. He really does, doesn't he? He's just like, oh, now I need at least 5 minutes to ponder reality for a second. 1 minute. So true. So true. Keiji overthinks everything. God tries to prove their existence to a Reddit atheist for 70-ish hours. That sounds like a good review. You say Higurashi takes too long, but this is your 11th stream, but Ruiner doesn't count. Well, being 100% totally honest here, Ruiner can take as long as it bloody likes, because it's getting me so many subs and views that it's pulling its weight. Higurashi's just not doing that for me, let's face it. I enjoy it, and I still wanted to get through it, and I'm still considering doing the others, because I genuinely want to read it. But, you know, popularity and shit. There's still Lobocop 2. It's in my wish list. It's in the wish list. One of the reviews here just says, this happened to my buddy once. And another one says, this happened to my buddy Eric. This seems to be a meme. Don't Google this game. Don't look up anything about it. If it piques your interest in even the slightest, please buy it and read it. Don't spoil anything for yourself. Umineko is the most intense, engaging story I've read in a long time. And it's so much more than just a mystery. I implore you to read it. Also, the music is amazing. I literally discovered this game via its soundtrack, and it's one of the best rabbit holes you'll ever go down. Now that sells it to me. God damn. Well done, Mr. Steam Store man. Person, woman, thing. I don't know where you are. If you're enjoying it, why keep the 100%? It's not 100% business perspective, because I want to do it. But it's not even just 100% business perspective. It's the issue of I only have so many slots to stream with, as well. Like I only have so many hours I can stream, which is why Higurashi's taken so long to get through. As much as this may be only my 11th, when was my first stream of Higurashi? Like, I don't know. It's a lot. It's like, I'm not doing 100% business. I'm still playing what I want to play. But I just tend to be a bit more motivated when it's doing well, and you can't really blame me for that one. It's just kind of how it happens. You get more positive reinforcement, and therefore you carry on doing a thing. That's just how brains work. So I started streaming Higurashi in July. That's how long it took me. I'm not saying it doesn't... Boy, why you gotta pick holes out of everything I say? Why do I have to justify? I don't need to justify shit to you, really. I'm just attempting to tell you my point of view. If you want to poke holes in that point of view, that's up to you, I guess. But that's how I feel about Higurashi. I do enjoy it, and I do want to play it, but I don't have as much motivation because of the views. Exactly. Like I'm trying my best, okay? I want this channel to grow, but I also want to do things I want, and it's a hard balance to strike. Like, for example, even if Runa was doing really well, but I started not liking playing it, I would stop playing it. It would ruin the channel at that point, but if I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't be doing it. Full stop. Like, there's no point. It just wouldn't be... You guys would notice if I wasn't having fun doing something, like, or if I wasn't enjoying a game to a degree, at least. I just wouldn't be as fun a streamer because of it, because you'd just be like, oh, she's sad. Anyway, now I'm ranting. After that somewhat real conversation, shall we stop the stream? Shall I tell you to give me money now? Yes, I think I should. So, and I should also thank you guys. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you to anyone who lurks. And thank you to anyone who watches the VOD. Ranting stream. Well, yeah, just ranting about streaming in general. Like with what you say will happen with Love... What? Like with what you say will happen with Lubbercup? Like, I would try Lubbercup, but I don't think I'll enjoy it. So that's probably one I'd probably only do 1 or 2 streams of and then drop. But, yeah, I need to stop. If you have not, give Brandy all your money. Chat. She's got t-shirts and pillows and keychains. I do! I had a lot of fun reading this. If you would like to support me, I would highly appreciate it if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel. If you would like to support me with money. Lobocop also needs slight patching. Oh, that's annoying. You also get your laptop on Saturday, probably. Yay! I can say, I guess I'll warn you early then. Minecraft will probably be Monday next week. Yes, Jake just posted the Kofi. Go click that link. And then you'll find like a little shop with little audio shorts from me. Little short stories. So you can listen to me tell them to you. Or you can just read the PDF that comes with it. It's up to you. I also have the Patreon where you'll get a extra stream every month and a short story. I don't know when that stream is going to be this month. I am attempting to fit it in somewhere. I have just got my schedules for the rest of the month, work-wise, so I should be able to get it in somewhere now. But yes, that should be fairly soon. I'm a test on Realm first for joining your world, Brandy. Fair dues. But I think that's all I have for you. Thank you so much to everyone for coming. I had fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Brandy Rose Smith, live in the Forbidden Library. Goodbye.